Hello, let's solve pips. We've got 1 by Ian and 2 by Rodolfo today. We'll start with the easy puzzle. Let's place some dominoes. Okay, we need two things that are equal, so the 6s or the 1s. Suspect it'll be the 6s, but because if it's not the 6s, I don't think we can make the 3 work. No, I guess we just could. Because we could... I guess just to show what I mean, we could do this, and then we could have a 2 and a 1 in the 3. Although that doesn't work, actually. Well, no, it just doesn't work. I thought it wouldn't work, and I think it just doesn't. Because I was thinking, oh, we could do this, but then we'd put the 4 here, we couldn't make the 9. Yeah, so I think my original suspicion was correct that we can't use the 1s there, so I think we put the 6s there. Sorry, this is too this is too chaotic for an easy puzzle solve, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't totally wrong about my first assumption. Anyway, okay, so how can we make the 9? We could make it with 6, 3 or 4, 5. So either way, it'll use this domino. All right, so this can't go here because then we'd need the 6 up at top, and we couldn't make the 9. But we could do this. Come on. Oh, no, we can't. No, that doesn't work. No, we can't make the 3. Sorry, this is not going well. This is a worrisome beginning. And that can't go there. That can't go there either. Oh, it must be this. Yeah, this works. Sorry, I should have gotten onto this much more quickly. That was a pretty poor easy solve. All right, let's move on to the medium. Okay, we have one of these 10s, exactly one of these two 10s must be a single domino. So, and the only way to achieve that is with double 5. So the double 5 goes here or here. Then the other one, I guess the other one could still be 2 5s separated, or 6 4. And this 10 does not have a single domino because we don't have any more of those left. So that one crosses over. But it could also, if this is here, it could cross over into this little loop. And if that were true, we'd need less than 3 leading to 4, 5, or 6 in order to make the 10, which is not difficult to achieve. We also need greater than 3 connected to greater than 1, which also doesn't seem very difficult to achieve. Yeah, there are numerous ways we could achieve that. Okay, how many beyond this double 5, which might not go there, we need 4 instances of 4, 5, and 6 to finish the 10s. And we have exactly 5 of them. But one of the 4, 5s, or 6s must go in the greater than 3. So what that tells us is that all of our 4s, 5s, and 6s are used in the 10 regions plus this greater than 3. So we cannot waste any other 4, 5s, or 6s. So none of them go in voids. None of them goes in this equivalence region either. Okay, that's kind of useful. And I think also what that means is we can't put a 5 in the greater than 3, because if we did, how would we make 2 more 10s? We could make one of them with a 6 and our only 4, but then we wouldn't have we wouldn't have a match for the remaining 6 or the remaining 5. So we can't put a 5 in the greater than 3. And we also can't put the 4 in there for the same reason. If we do that, we could make one of our 10s with the 2 5s, but the other one wouldn't have a partner. So what that means is that the greater than 3 is a 6. And it's not 6 1 because it needs to be greater than 1, so it is 6 2. Okay, that was a good bit of logic. That was less flailing than I was a moment ago. So that's fine. So now we have 2 5s and a 6 4 that go in our 10s. That is strictly true. So what goes in our equivalence region then? That looks like it needs to be 2s or 3s. I was going to say, does the less than 3 matter? Maybe. I'm not sure. So this less than 3 connects to a 10 one way or another. It goes across or it goes down. So the less than 3 is 1, 6 or 2, 5, and that's it. It's one of those two things. Is there a reason one of those is particularly difficult? If it were 1, no, that's fine. If it were 2, that's more constraining, because if it were 2, then we couldn't use 2 in the equivalence region. The equivalence region would need to be 3s. Actually, oh, right. And that's not going to work, because both of our 3s are connected to 4s, 5s, and 6s, and we can't waste those. So we can't put the 3 in the equivalence region, actually. So I think that means it is 2s in there, and we can't waste a 5. So one of the 2s connects that way. The other 2 sends it 0 into the void. Okay, it's good. So this 5 now, we can't waste 5s. So the other one sends itself into the void. So now we complete this. Good. Okay, that was ultimately a decent solve. Maybe could have done that a little bit faster, but I'm happy with all of the deductions. It wasn't guesswork. It was proper deducing. Okay, so that's the medium. We'll move on to hard. And this is, of course, where I've been not doing well recent days. All right, we have a 0, of which we have 3. We have a 5, which we have, I think, 4. Oh, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. We have 6 of something. Okay. There aren't going to be many candidates for that. Twos might be the only possibility, actually. I think it might have to be 2s. Hope I'm not. Oh, maybe 3s. No, I think it has to be 2s. Yeah, I think it has to be 2s. And then we have one more 2 up there. Wait, do we have enough 2s? We do. We have 7 2s. Okay, so we can't waste any 2s at all. Now, does that help? So this, right, how does that work? We do have a double 2, which makes sense, but I'm not necessarily sure where that goes immediately. Oh, we have another 5 called out down there. So the 5, 2, how many 5s do we have? We have several 5s, okay. I was wondering if I needed the 5, 2 to overlap, to be this 5, but it could be something that connects up here. You know, it could connect to the greater than 8, for instance. Okay. What about this 3? We have several 3 candidates, and we don't have any 3, 2, so that doesn't necessarily relate. Less than 2 can only be 0s and 1s. Well, it's double 0 or it's 0 and 1. That's all that it can be. We have more equivalence regions. We have 2 3-sized equivalence regions. Is that helpful? Maybe. How do I get started with this? We have 0 up here. So 0, double 0 seems unlikely, but maybe. We would then, if it were in either of these directions, we would then need the other 0. Oh, do we only have one other 0? We only do have one other 0. So if that were true, then it would be the 5. The 5 would be what is connected to this. That might be a little bit tricky. Not hugely tricky, though, because we could do something like this. Oh, but we need, no, we can't do that, sorry, because we do need a 0 in the less than 2. We absolutely need a 0 for that. So this cannot be the double 0. We have 1 0 up there, 1 0 down there, and that only leaves us a single 0. So we can't be putting it into any equivalence regions. Okay, so that means this is the 0, 5 then, right? It must mean that, because that's the only other 0 domino we have. So I'm not sure which direction it points, but one of these two cell equivalence regions is double 5. Not amazingly useful, but I mean, it could end up being like this, for instance. That's perfectly reasonable. But there are other ways we could do it as well. If this went here, we could do that. Actually, we couldn't. That would break the geometry, but we could still do this, which is a little less flexible than what we did before, actually. Yeah, well, okay, I'm not sure, but I mean, this 0, 5 does go up there. It does go up there. How many 5s do we have in total? 1, 2, 3. We have 4, so we've accounted for 2 of them. We have 2 more 5s. Oh, and 1 goes down there. Oh, and 1 goes there. Ah, right. Okay, yeah, we've accounted for all the 5s. Now, that is good to know, at least. We have accounted for all the 5s. I'm not sure I know exactly what to do with that just this second, but it is helpful. It means we can't point a 5 up into the greater than 8. I was considering that with this 2, 5 earlier. Cannot do that. We have quite a few 6s. That's a bit conspicuous. Some of them might go in this greater than 8. Could even be a double 6. Who knows? We have plenty of 3s. Well, what about this double 0? It could go here. Maybe it needs to go there, actually. Because it can't, yeah, actually, I think that's right. Because it can't go here, it'll break the 3. It can't go here, it'll break the 5. And it can't go here because we don't have enough zeros. So that actually, that goes there. That's good. And then this 3, there may well be plenty of possibilities for this. I think there probably are currently plenty. But one of them is not 3, 2. No, it could be 3, 2. It could be 3, 2 pointing up. That's possible. If that were true, we would then need a 2 pointing down into something that we have 2 more of, which is also probably not very difficult. We could do something like 2, 1, and then have 1, 5. But we actually don't have that. Maybe that is more difficult than it seems. We could do 2, 6, and have 6, 5, and then 6 connected to less than 5. I mean, that's fine. This isn't very difficult. Okay, so I'm not making massive progress, am I? Well, this 5 is a 5 too. I mean, that's definitely true. I could have not placed it necessarily because I don't know which direction it goes, but we know that that's what the 5 is. I would have known that ages ago, and I just didn't do anything about it. So that means this 5 down here is 5, 4 or 5, 6, and this 5 here is also 5, 4 or 5, 6. And that means this 5, well, no, because this could still be this way. But it's more difficult if it's this way, because then we would need the 5 to point across this way as a 4 or a 6. And if it's a 4, I guess if it's a 4, we could still do 2, 4, or put the 2 pointing up. So that's not actually difficult either. Right, okay. And yeah, we don't know which way that goes. We know that there are 2 5 candidates down here. We could even point this one across, 5, 4, to the 4 being less than 5. This would need to be then a double thing, which could be, say, 3. Then we could point 3, 2. No, actually, we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. Because then we'd need either another double 3, or we'd need a 3, 2, but then we'd need another 3, 2 there. So actually, that couldn't be 3 for whatever that's worth. Could it be double 6? Yeah, because we could put 6, 3 there, or 6, 2 pointing up. Yeah. I'm just not seeing what the constraints are. Sorry, I thought I made some decent deductions, but I'm obviously missing an important thing now. What about this greater than 8? Is that constrained? There can't be any 1s or 2s in there. Only 3s and higher can go in there. But we have lots of 3s and lots of 6s, which make that very easy. I mean, it might end up being 3, 6. This less than 6. We don't have any zeros, so we can't, well, we never could have had any 6s in there. We can't have any 5s in there. We could have a 4 if it's connected to a 1. Oh, that's a single domino. We don't have a 4, 1, or 0. Okay, so there can't even be any 4s in there. So it's less, everything's less than 4 then. So it could be double 3 or 3, 2 or 3, 1 or 2, 2 or 2, 1. I mean, it's still, no, it can't have any 2s. We've used all the 2s. Right. Oh, and it can't be 3, 3. Oh, so does it have to be 3, 1 or double 1? Yeah, it's either 3, 1 or double 1. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't see that coming. We haven't really dealt with 1s at all. I mean, presumably one of these 3 regions is going to be a 1. 3, 1, or what was the other possibility? 1, 1 is the other possibility. That's tough because then this one couldn't be 1s because we've already used our double 1. So it would have to be, I think, there's the 3s or 6s. I don't know why this is taking me so long. Sorry, I really thought I was off to a good start. But that is, I think, 3, 1 or 1, 1. I think those are the only possibilities. Down here, this 5. 5, 6, or 5, 4. If it were to be 5, 6, in general, it would have to go this way. We would then need 6 connected to less than 5, which we could do. We'd also need 6 connected to 3 in either of those 2 directions. No, sorry, not in either. It would have to be this way. Then this would be 6. I mean, that's pretty constrained. This would have to be 6, too. Then I guess regardless of how this was going, we'd still need a double 2. Then we'd need 2 into the void. Then no, wait, this doesn't work. Yeah, this doesn't work for sort of geometrical reasons. Any way we do this, any way we orient this, we still need another double 2 because we can't have both of these pointing into the equivalence region because they have to be the same domino. Okay, that was a sort of an accidental finding, but it's useful. So I think what that means is the 5 needs to point up. Oops, one moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to knock at the door. I think I just had an interesting thought. Right, okay. It was something about this, wasn't it? How did that work? I think it's that it needs to be pointing up. Is that right? No. Oh, no. I had a thought about this, and I don't remember what it was. It was several minutes ago now. I think the idea is that, right, okay, there's something about these 2 dominoes, this bit up here, we can't have 2 dominoes that do that because they'd have to be the same, and that's impossible. So I think what that means is we need to break that. Oh, and we couldn't just do this because then, which would, help that issue, but then we'd need another double 2 down there. So that's impossible. So I think what that means is the 5, 2 needs to be pointing up. And what that also means is this double, my mouse seems to have good and bad days. Okay, that means that needs to be pointed there to avoid the same problem. So now what that means is that, God, I could have gotten this so long ago, I'm sorry. So the 2, 3 points down there. So now what are our remaining 2s? 2, 6, 2, 1, and 2, 4. So this we still don't know which way that goes. Oh, wait. If it's this way, does that ruin everything I've just said? No, I don't think it does. Oh, maybe it does. No, I don't think it does. If this is this way, can this now somehow be here? No, it can't. It's the same problem with this. Yeah, okay. I believe that's correct. Right. I don't know which way this goes. I just need to somehow remember that I don't know that. If this were this way, then this would need to this would need to be a 5 pointing somewhere else, which obviously that's true. And it couldn't be a 5, 2, because we've used that. So it'd have to be pointing back across. And this would be a 6 or a 4. I don't know. We'll come back to that. Anyway, this is now a 2 pointing down into the equivalence region. And it's a 1 or a 4 or a 6. Are any of those impossible? I think 4 is impossible. I don't think we can put 2, 4 there because I don't think we have enough 4s. No, we don't. So that's not 2, 4. So the 2, 4 is either here or it's over here somewhere. I mean, it certainly could be quite easily this way because then we could put 5, 4 here and that would work, but we don't know that yet. So anyway, this isn't 2, 4 down here. It's 2, 1 or 2, 6. Now, is either one of those impossible for some reason? I mean, 2, 1, we could do double 1 here, and then we'd need 1, 5, but I think we've seen before we don't have that. We don't have that. So I think that, well, no, this could be this way. Then we could do 5 less than 5. That actually does work. That does work if it goes across. What about 2, 6? We could do 6, 5, then 6 less than 5. That's perfectly fine. We could even do this and use the same 5 less than 5. So those, unfortunately, both work. So one of them sends into the void, which is unfortunately not helpful. The other one needs to go up here. If this were this way, does that create any difficulty for that too? Actually, it kind of does. It's more difficult anyway, because we can't have the 2, 5 going across. So the 2 would have to go up, which means we need a 5 also going up. But that could be 5, that could be like a 6 up here. This is not very difficult then. And this, yeah, I mean, that would be satisfied here. We would then, though, need a double here, which is also fine. That could be 6s. What am I missing now? I made some progress, but now I'm still not in the home stretch. Does it start getting difficult to make this less than 6, or maybe this equivalence region? We still need to double something over there. Could be 1s or 6s or 3s. I can't remember if I ruled any of those out for some other reason earlier. Boy, this is taking too long. These always take too long for me these days. Boy, I want to feel like this 2, 4 is implausible somewhere, but I can't really determine that it is. Right. Oh, you know what? Maybe if we use these 1s, that makes the 6 difficult. If we use... we would then need... yeah, I mean, we then couldn't do this. We'd have to use the double 1s this way. Then the 6 would have to be 1, 3. I mean, that is still possible. That is still possible. Then this would be 5 to less than 5, which could be 5, 4. Yeah, it still works. Look how many 6s we still have. I mean, 6s are we just have tons of them. None of this feels difficult. What am I missing here? It's just this, I guess. Was there another way to do that? What's the constraint that made that necessary? Someone will have to tell me in the comments why that was the way this has to play out. I mean, it felt right as I was doing it, but I wasn't really sure. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe we would limit our ability to make this less than 6 by using all those 1s. We obviously didn't. Yeah, I must admit, I'm happy with my earlier deductions. I must have missed a core deduction towards the end there. Okay, anyway, those are the pips. Back tomorrow. Bye for now.